Yesterday I bumped into an old friend. Me and this guy were very close friends when I was in high school. He was telling me that he watches my videos on YouTube. Me and him are friends on Facebook, and I share the links to my videos on Facebook. So he watches most of my videos. He was telling me that he agrees with most of the things that I say, but life isn't always bad. There are people that are truly enjoying this experience. There are people that are truly happy. There are people that would want to relive their lives. I remember I've asked a question in one of my videos that I've uploaded last year, that would you want to come back into this world and relive your life the way that you've lived it? And everyone said no. So the reason why people keep on going now is because they are optimistic. They believe that things can work out. People wouldn't want to live their lives backwards. They wouldn't want to re-experience the things that they've experienced. But now they feel like, things can change at any time. People post that on Facebook all the time. Like, never look down on anyone because things can change. I won't give up no matter what. I'll keep on fighting. God has a plan for me. God will never abandon me. I can feel it. I'm very close to success. They're optimistic, which tells me something. It tells me that they're not doing well right now, but because they're optimistic, they're able to keep on going. Yeah, but what this guy was telling me is that, there are people that are truly enjoying their lives, people that are truly happy, people that are not stressing, people that would want to relive their lives, people that found themselves in very good situations. So I shouldn't say that life is always bad, because it isn't always bad. There are people that are truly enjoying it. And that is true. That's 100% true. So he was asking me, if everyone stopped having children, it will mean that I will be depriving people that would actually get to enjoy the experience. And this is something that I would think back then, before I became an Antinatalists, because I understood antinatalism, and I knew that I wasn't going to have children, but I was like, but then again, there will still be people that will enjoy the experience, so I'll be depriving them of the experience that they could have. If I say everyone should not have children. So yeah, his argument was that, well, there are some people that are enjoying this experience, so I shouldn't make that conclusion. I shouldn't be like, everyone should stop having children. He understands that I'm right about the things that I'm saying, but he doesn't agree with my conclusion. And he was saying that sometimes it also has to do with how you look at life. There are people that are in situations that we may think are not good, but that are happy because of how they look at life. They are able to appreciate the smallest things. They fight hard to stay positive. They love everyone. They are always laughing. And there are people that have worked very hard, people that weren't really supposed to make it, but they actually were able to make it and found themselves in very good situations, and now they're enjoying their lives. One of the biggest mistakes that we make is that we believe that people who have made it in life They've made it because they've done things that other people didn't do. Like they were very strong and resilient and they worked very hard. What we don't understand is that any person can fail. Any person can fail if the right things can happen that can make them fail. You get what I'm saying? If Andrew Tate, for example, got knocked out a couple of times when he was a kickboxer, he probably wouldn't be where he is today. If he didn't have the kind of parents that he had, he probably wouldn't be where he is today. If he wasn't born where he was born, he probably wouldn't be where he is today. If Joe Rogan was born in South Africa, he probably wouldn't be Joe Rogan. Like no one would know him. So making it and succeeding in this world has a lot to do with luck. We're victims of causality. The right things have to happen for you to find yourself in a situation that is favorable. It doesn't just happen because you are a good person, you have this positive energy and you're doing the right things. You know, it doesn't have to do with that. The right things have to happen. There are people that were better than you in every way that are in a situation that's worse than the situation that you are in. No, these people were better than you in every way, but things just didn't work out for them, and they've done the right things because they were better than you. It means that they made better decisions, but still, they didn't make it. It has a lot to do with cause and effect. The right things really have to happen. That's something that we must get. But here's the thing. Antinatalism isn't really about people that are here. You know, you can tell me that life isn't always bad. You know, there are people that are enjoying it, and you know, you can say that. But the problem is, if I have a child, I will be bringing someone else. You see, that's the problem. The problem is that I will be bringing someone else into this world, and it is possible for them to truly enjoy this experience, but it's also possible for them to not enjoy the experience, and it wouldn't be their fault. So, should I gamble with someone else's life? That's what I was telling the guy. Should I gamble with someone else's life? I gave him this example. If hell and heaven existed, you know, he's a smart guy. I told him, if hell and heaven existed, I know that you know that hell and heaven don't exist, but let's just say they existed. And you could gamble with someone else's life. Let's say there was a possibility of like death really being the end. Let's put it this way. Death was supposed to be the end, but there was still, but then we're given this option that, you know what, you can choose for another person. Would not necessarily choose, but you can gamble with someone else's life. You press this button. If you press this button, they can either go to hell or heaven. But if you don't press the button, it means that when they die, it's all over. Would you press that button? He was like, but I get you. Because that's the issue. You are gambling with someone else's life. If you do press that button, but it only affects your life, that's good. You know? If they say, well, death is the end, but if you press this button, well, it won't be the end. You'll either go to heaven or hell. And then you press the button, that's good. No one's going to blame you. But if you are gambling with someone else's life, that's a problem. The problem is that you're gambling with someone else's life, and that is wrong. And you know that it's wrong. You know, it isn't, you're not retarded. You're smart. The problem is that, just like I've been telling you, that we live in a cult. Society is a cult, so we've been brainwashed, so we don't see things as they are. We lie to ourselves a lot. we can see the truth, but would rather lie to ourselves, would rather brainwash ourselves because we've been trained to do that, you know. And that's what's acceptable in our society. We're supposed to brainwash ourselves and not see reality as it is and pretend as if it's something that it's not, especially something that's positive, even if it's not positive. And that's one of the biggest issues. The truth is, yes, there are people that are truly enjoying their lives, but there are lots of people that are not enjoying their lives. And it has nothing to do with them having made bad decisions in their lives. It has nothing to do with them not wanting a good life. It was just unlucky. And they didn't choose to be here. Someone else chose for them to be here. And that is the problem. The problem is in the people that are already here. The problem is in how the people that are already here are viewing life. I might think that life is good. That's true, but I cannot guarantee that if I bring a child into this world, that child is going to think that life is good. You see the issue? I was watching an interview where Lawrence Anton was interviewing internatalists that have children. He was interviewing internatalists that became internatalists after having children, which means they weren't internatalists before having children. They had children and then they realized that something isn't right, and then they became internatalists. One of the people that he was interviewing was a lady named Anna. She said something very interesting. She said, she had kids, because she grew up in a religious country where everyone believed that having children, it's the right thing to do. Of course, if you grew up in a religious country, that's what everyone will believe. So she grew up in a country like that, so she believed that having children was the right thing to do. But as her children were growing older, she noticed that they will get angry and they will be sad, And she would ask herself, man, what right did I have to impose such discomfort on these children? And she said, yes, even if they were getting angry or sad because of things that, I felt like they shouldn't be sad about, but still, they were getting sad and angry. And that's something that's very important to understand, because some parents, when their children are sad or angry, they feel like they're just weak. People are different, and that is the truth. People are different. People are viewing life differently. So what makes you feel good might not be what makes me feel good. What makes you feel sad might not be what makes you feel sad, right? We're different like that, and that's something that we must understand. So I like the fact that she brought that up. So she said that she noticed that, and they will get angry, they will be sad, and she asked herself that question: who is she to impose that on someone else? Which is a valid question to ask yourself, which is a question that each and every parent should ask themselves, because it's a very important question. Who am I to impose such discomfort on someone else? If I'm choosing to experience that myself, that's good, but I cannot think that it is good for me to choose for someone else to experience that. That is obviously wrong. She said that son got sick and she had to stay with him in a hospital, and she saw him suffering, and she knew that No, man. That is wrong. It was wrong for me to make a decision like that. It was wrong for me to bring a child into this world, because I cannot guarantee anything. I cannot guarantee their happiness, you know. I cannot guarantee that they're gonna be healthy. There's nothing that I can guarantee. I don't have the power. Even if I love my children, and I believe that she loves the children, but she doesn't have the power to make their lives good. You know, most parents actually do love their children. You know, most parents will do whatever they can to make sure that their children are happy. I know that. Most parents are like that. But they don't have the power to ensure that their children are happy. You see, that is the problem. They don't have the power to ensure that their children are happy. And that is something that we must understand. That is something that each and every person must understand. I don't have the power to ensure that other people are happy. Some people think that we are responsible for our happiness as people. You know, we lie to ourselves a lot. Each and every person is responsible for their happiness. People believe that the problem with that is that there are people that are not being treated right. You cannot say that those people are responsible for their happiness. We have to treat each other right to make sure that we are all happy. You cannot treat other people wrong and then you expect them to be happy and you say, well, each and every person is responsible for their happiness. That's not the truth. You cannot say that to a kid that is being bullied every day, that you are responsible for your happiness. Society is responsible for everyone's happiness. It matters how people are raised. It matters what kind of schools they attend, what they are taught in these schools. That matters. It matters if they are working the jobs that they love. It matters if they are not overworking. It matters if they are not living in a corrupt system, not being governed by corrupt politicians. You know, all of that matters. We cannot lie to ourselves and convince ourselves that, what time is it? 14:48. We cannot convince ourselves that when people are not happy, it's really their fault. You know, it has a lot to do with their situation than it being their fault. That is something that's very, very important to understand. It has a lot to do with their situation than it being their fault. You know, it's like I was waiting for that guy to pass because I don't want nobody walking behind me, man. Can't be trusting these niggas. But yeah, we're responsible for each other's happiness. You know, the same way that we're responsible for each other's feelings. If I punch you in the face, you're not supposed to feel good. If I buy you a present, you're gonna feel good. So that needs to be understood. We are social creatures, so we shouldn't be lying to ourselves and try to convince ourselves that we're responsible for each other's happiness as people. We're not responsible for each other's happiness as people. We are. You cannot say that people are responsible for their happiness and that the only ones that are responsible for their happiness. We are responsible for each other's happiness as a collective. We shouldn't place that burden on an individual. Like, oh, you must be happy. You must appreciate the smallest things. Or look at that person. That person is happy and they are in a situation that's similar to yours. Blah, blah, blah. Or they're in a situation that's worse than yours. No. People are different and are viewing this world differently, and they appreciate different things. So we make sure that people are having the things that they want. They are getting the things that they need. That's when it will be justified for us to say, yes, you are responsible for your happiness because you have everything that you want. You are given everything that you need. But we mustn't lie to people. We mustn't lie to people, man. So yeah, that's something that's very, very important to understand. So yeah, I tried to make this guy understand, and I think he got it. He understood why I'm an internatalist, why I say that it's wrong to be bringing children into a world like this. He understood that, because what I was saying made complete sense. But yeah, Anna raised some really, really good points. She raised some really, really good points. And she went on to say that she's vegan. And she feels guilty because she cannot guarantee that her children are not going to consume animal products. So here's the question. Should all vegans be internatalists? This is a very important question because people who are vegan actually think antinatalism is weird. Like, they don't agree with antinatalism. Like, they don't agree with the concept of antinatalism. Say that they don't want to be associated with it in any way, shape, or form. I've seen many videos of vegans saying that they don't want to be associated with internatalists. They just don't agree with that. Like, it's horrible. How can we say that people should stop reproducing, blah, 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 But what they're not understanding is that the things that are happening in this world are happening because this world have been set up that way. If really, as a vegan, you care about the suffering of animals and you don't want animals to suffer anymore, you should realize that there is a big chance that if you bring someone into this world, they're not gonna be vegan. Imagine if you fight for animal rights your whole life, and then you bring a child into this world, and then that child consume animal products. Like, that's what let me tell you this. Most people in this world are not vegans, and they don't understand veganism. So what are the chances that your child is going to be a vegan as well? What are the chances that your grandchildren are going to be vegans? You see, if you're going to bring people into this world, you have to understand that most people in this world are not vegans. So chances of your children or your grandchildren being vegans are very, very limited. Chances are your children or your grandchildren are not going to be vegan. So you will be indirectly causing harm to animals. That's a very important thing to understand. You mustn't just look at what is happening now. Understand that humans don't think that deeply. It's not easy for a person to actually realize that, killing animals and abusing animals is wrong. It's not easy. Many people don't get to realize that. That is why many people in this world are not vegans. I know vegans believe that the number of vegans is growing, but it's not. It's just that the number of humans is growing. You see, but the percentage of vegans is not growing. Some people become vegans and go back to consuming animal products because they don't feel healthy after becoming vegans. That also happens. So no, the number of vegans is only growing because the number of humans is growing, not really because it's growing, not really because people are like, oh, wait a minute, we should stop consuming animal products. So what you must realize is that now this world really sucks. People really suck. And if we want to make this world a better place, we must stop creating more people, because they're the ones that are abusing these animals. That's it. You cannot say, oh, I'm still going to create another human, but I care about the suffering of animals. You don't really care about the suffering of animals. Maybe you like this lifestyle of veganism. There's this question that I used to ask this guy that I was friends with when we were Christian. He's a very, very he's a real Christian. He's respected in the church that I used to attend. He's very respected. I used to ask him this question. I was like, man, don't you feel like you love gospel music because you just love it? It has nothing to do with Jesus, but you love how it sounds. And you love how you sing gospel. You know what I mean? How it makes you feel, how you praise it. It seems to me that you just love how things are done at church than you just loving Jesus. Can you imagine if people would just rap when they're trying to praise Jesus? Would you love that? So some people just love, the culture of veganism, the tattoos, their lifestyle. But it isn't that they really care about the animals. Because if you really care about the suffering of animals, like really, 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 really care, you realize that we're the ones that are causing harm. Chances of you bringing a child into this world and that child actually becoming vegan and fight for the animal rights, these chances are very, very slim, That's what you must understand. People are cruel, man. We live in a cruel world. And that is the truth. There isn't much that we can do about that. We should just stop creating more humans, because it's humans that are ensuring that there's suffering in this world. I do understand that animals also kill each other, but I think we're causing more harm to animals than they're causing to themselves. Because we don't mind keeping them in cages, Some animals are born in cages and they're kept in cages for their whole life. Like, that's fucked up. They don't want to live in those cages. But, they're kept in cages, they're kept in zoos. You're like, nah, man, that's wrong on so many levels. At least when they're living in the wild, they get to live their lives until they get killed. And, them getting killed doesn't take that much time. It's not like when an animal is getting killed, it's going to take hours. Usually it takes like 2-3 minutes. So they get to enjoy their lives and then they get killed violently, but that's nothing compared to how we treat them. That's nothing compared to living in captivity their whole lives. Like, that's wrong on so many levels. So we're causing so much harm to these animals. So really, if you really care about the animals, just stop bringing more people. You have to understand that if we weren't that many in this world, animals will suffer less. But there's too many humans and they're fucking selfish. You know, they want to see these animals in captivity because they want to go and see them. I saw this other video where this lion was kept inside like a very small space. You know, what's separating this lion from people was a glass, and this animal wanted to attack a child. It saw a child standing and it wanted to attack the child. So as it was trying to attack the child, because there was a barrier, it hit the barrier. And someone said, oh, when the devil wants to attack you, that's how God protects you. And I was like, these motherfuckers are retarded. First of all, the lion was doing exactly what it was programmed to do. We are the ones that were doing some fucked up shit, keeping them there and we're going there to see them. You see, we are the ones that were doing the wrong thing. We are the ones that were causing suffering. It's just that we're so delusional as people that we always want to see ourselves as superior to like other animals. And we believe that we're superior to other animals and we must treat them however we like, and that is what is good. No, it isn't good. It's just that we lie to ourselves. Because we can communicate as people, it's easy for us to lie to ourselves. It's easy for us to believe things that make no sense. If we weren't able to communicate, maybe we wouldn't lie to ourselves. Maybe we would believe things that actually make sense. But we're able to communicate. We lie to ourselves a lot. People get brainwashed a lot. There will never be a time where people in this world are going to be like, yo, we'll stop consuming animal products. Like, no. Unless maybe consuming animal products started killing them. But as long as they're enjoying their meat and they're not getting sick when they eat meat, they will continue to eat meat. That's how people are. They will never make that illegal unless animals maybe became very conscious and started fighting for their rights. They will just laugh at you when you're just fighting for the rights of animals, but they won't really stop abusing these animals. You know, we are outnumbered. That's something that you must understand. As vegans, we are outnumbered. Since I was born, I never met a vegan. Understand that? Since I was born. At least some of y'all, people living in the UK, people that are living in America, people that are living in Canada, at least you've met some vegans. I've never even met a single vegan. Oh, maybe, yeah, there's this guy that I met. He's a Rastafarian dude. Like, you know, they believe in it. But that's just religious beliefs. I'm talking about a real vegan, a person that just doesn't want to consume animal products for ethical reasons, not for religious reasons. I've never met a vegan in my life. I'm the only vegan that I know. And that should tell you something. You should realize that there ain't that many vegans in this world. We are outnumbered. Totally outnumbered. So to believe that people are going to change in the future and become vegans, that's just being delusional. And you might say, well, people are not going to become internatalists. But here's what you're not realizing. If you don't bring a child into this world, you have prevented suffering for so many people. Can you imagine if you stop your bloodline now? It means that all the people that will be born because you made a choice to bring a child into this world will not be born. So they won't experience suffering. And you would have done something that's really, really important. Something that will impact this world in a better way, in a good way. And also you would have prevented the suffering of many animals. Many animals. Then look at it this way. As a vegan, you are preventing the suffering of animals, right? That's what you believe. You're preventing the suffering of animals. Because you're not buying animal products. I get that. So imagine if you were going to, if you made a decision to bring a child into this world, and that child was going to have children, and their children were going to have children, you would have. Do you understand how much suffering you would have prevented? It would mean that more than 10,000 people would not get to consume any more products because you wouldn't have made a choice to bring your child into this world. You have to understand that if you bring a child into this world, that child is going to have children, and that children are going to have children, that children are going to have children. You know what I mean? And chances are they're going to consume any more products because people are selfish, Humans consuming animal products is not a bug, it's a future. It's how things work in this world. It's not like that is happening because people are just too dumb. I do understand that people are too dumb, they're unconscious and stuff, but it was set up that way, that they will consume animal products, and they do consume animal products. You might say, oh, it's not natural for a human to drink cow's milk, and you're right, but the humans can do that, and they're doing that, and that's natural for them to do that. There isn't anything that is happening that isn't natural. That's what you think that you must get. It's happening because it's natural. That is why they're doing that. It's happening because it's natural. That doesn't mean that it's good. That doesn't mean that it's logical to drink cow's milk if you're a human, if you are not a baby. You know what I mean? Because we know animals produce milk for their offspring. That's how it works, but it's weird when an adult. Yeah, but humans are weird, man. But what you must understand is that, there's nothing that we're going to do to change that. Human beings, this is the way that human beings have been living. So just stop bringing more people here. That's how you win. I keep on saying that antinatalism is really the final truth. You really want to stop suffering, stop bringing people here. It's people that are causing suffering. And also, if you don't bring people here, it means that they are not going to suffer because you haven't brought them into a world of suffering. You haven't brought them into a world where they can suffer. Some people believe that if they don't bring their children into this world, they will be missing out. What is it that they will be missing out on? It's not like we're doing good as a society right now. It's not like you are doing well. There are many parents that are not even doing well at all. They don't even have money. They just expect their children to come into this world and suffer and suffer and suffer because they made a decision for them to come into this world. You don't realize how horrible that is. You bring a child into this world even though you don't have money to take care of that child. You know that money makes the world go around. If you don't have money, you definitely going to suffer because you need money to have access to the things that you want. Not having money is like being in a prison. The reason why we hate being in a prison is because we don't have options, you know. Being broke might actually be worse than being in a prison. I'll show you why that might actually be worse than being in a prison. When you're in a prison, you don't see what is going on in the world because you're in a prison, you're in your cell every day. So, you know, you don't really see anyone that's really enjoying their lives. But if you're poor, you're going to see people really enjoying their lives, people that will be really enjoying their money, people buying the things that they want, and you won't be able to buy these things. So that's kind of like being in a prison, but, you know, being allowed to see how other people are doing. That's worse. So you bring your child into this world, you have no money to buy them the things that they will want, you have no money for them to actually get a good head start. You broke. You just expect them to fight, and you think that is okay. Don't you understand that is being retarded? That is being stupid. That, even though you feel like that is love, but it's misguided, you know. Your love is misguided because it's not doing something that is positive. It's causing unnecessary suffering. That is the problem. So you can say that I'm bringing a child into this world because I love them, but then that child is going to suffer because you love them, and that's fucking horrible. It's not so different from being loved by a psycho, for an example. There are people that are psychos that love the people that maybe they're in a relationship with, but they're not treating them right because they're psychos. So them loving these people is not a positive thing. Can you imagine being in love with this, being loved by a psycho? You can't even break up with that psycho because you might get killed. But yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like you have nothing to offer. You have nothing positive to offer. You just brought that person into this world because you felt empty and you wanted something to love. So you love them, yes, but they're suffering. So it's not helping. You know, it's not a good thing. It's not a positive thing. But also you must realize that life itself is full of suffering. So even if you do have money, doesn't mean that your child is not going to suffer. You know, it can mean that maybe they'll suffer a lot less because you have money. When they get sick, you'll be able to pay for a good health care, for an example. You know, you'll be able to send them to the best schools. You'll be able to buy them the best food. You know, like they'll have the best of everything, but still, you cannot guarantee that they'll be happy. You know, there are people that have killed themselves, like many teenagers that have killed themselves, even though their parents were really rich and they were doing everything for these children. That happens. There are many parents that have lost their children They don't understand how they've lost their children. They don't understand why their children took their own lives. You see his parents saying, "Oh, I used to do everything for my child. I loved my child. There wasn't anything that I couldn't buy for my child. I can't believe that they made a decision to leave." Well, they weren't happy. You cannot guarantee that a person that you bring into this world is going to be happy. You cannot guarantee that they're going to enjoy the experience. That's something that you must understand. You cannot guarantee that. So you must think about the child before you bring them into this world. Don't be thinking about yourself or how you view the world. Some of you are truly delusional. You must understand that. It might happen that you are just too delusional. That's why you think that this world is good. But what if your child is not going to be delusional? What if your child is not going to be like you? If it happens that you bring a child into this world and that child is like you and they think that this world makes sense, yeah, maybe we would have done the right thing, but there's still a problem. The problem will be that child might actually cause suffering for other people. That can happen, because the child will probably be as ignorant as you are. So it might happen that your child bring people into this world that might end up not loving the experience. So you must not just look at what's happening now or what's gonna happen now. You must understand that there is no guarantee that your child is going to be like you. There are people that are pastors and their children don't even believe in Christianity. And not only do they not believe in Christianity, they're not even living the life that the parents want them to live. So they don't believe in Christianity and they're drinking, smoking, doing drugs. That happens. So you cannot guarantee that your child is going to be like you. You can't guarantee that. So we must understand that it can happen. I do understand that we're delusional, because sometimes people that are religious will pray, and be like, yo, I'm praying for a child that's going to be like this and that, and God is going to give me a child. God doesn't always answer prayers, right? There's been so many things that you've prayed for that you didn't get, because God doesn't always answer prayer. And you're going to tell yourself that, well, God knows what he's doing, because you don't know what to say. You can pray for something and it doesn't happen, and then you lie to yourself. Oh, God knows what he's doing. Let the will of God be done, whatever. Like, nah, man. It's not a fact that it's not a guarantee that your child is going to be as delusional as you are. Can happen that you bring a child into this world that is actually smart, that actually views this reality as it is, and that's not going to lie to themselves, because they'll realize how important it is to truly, understand the truth, to truly acknowledge the truth, and stop being delusional. So you must understand that being a vegan doesn't mean that you're gonna give birth to vegans. Doesn't mean that. Your children can come into this world and cause a lot of suffering. Some of them might even get involved in animal farming. You don't know that. You don't know the future. That's the thing. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't have the power to control what's going to happen. You're just a human. You must understand that as humans, we don't have power. We just have the illusion of power. We don't know what's going to happen. You might wake up dead tomorrow. You might go to a doctor and find that you have cancer. You can get a phone call and hear that your son died. Like you don't have power. You understand that? You don't have power to have the things that you want. Anything can happen, You can get a call and they tell you that you got fired. You're no longer working where you were working. Anything can happen. You can go to an interview that you feel like you're going to pass and not pass, because you don't really have power. You just have the illusion of power as a human. So let's try to see things as they really are. And try to make better decisions as people, so that we'll alleviate suffering. There's no need for people to suffer. Life is meaningless. It's not like people have to be here. It's not like this has to keep on going on. It's not like you have to pass on your genes to someone else, and that's when you'd have done the right thing, you know. You feel like that is meaningful because you're telling yourself that that is meaningful. It's not because that is meaningful. It's not because that is important. It's not important. It's not important at all. You didn't even create your genetic makeup, for an example. You know what I mean? You're just a person who doesn't even know what is going on in this world. You see, you have no clue what is going on in this world. You can't create another human. You don't even know what DNA is, you know. You wouldn't even know what, you don't know what DNA is, but you wouldn't even have an idea what DNA is if they didn't teach you about DNA. You wouldn't know anything about the double helix, whatever. Like you don't know shit. You understand that? So to think that passing on your genes is the right thing to do, that's just being delusional, you know. You must realize that there are loads of people that are suffering, lots of animals that are suffering, and we are causing their suffering. If you're going to have a child and that child is going to be causing the suffering of animals, you are also causing the suffering of animals, because you brought the child into this world and you knew that humans do cause the suffering of animals. You cannot keep on creating the problem and pretend as if you're not creating that problem. You see? That's why I keep on telling people that no one is innocent. You have to think, you have to be conscious and understand that you're not innocent. No one is innocent in this world. We must see the world as it is and stop lying to ourselves, because lying to ourselves cannot help us. Lying to ourselves cannot save us. There are a lot of things that are happening in this world that we might not even be aware of that are not good. Lots of people getting kidnapped and getting tortured. And if you ask them if their lives were worth it, like their lives were worth them actually suffering the way that they would have been suffering when they get kidnapped and get tortured, they will say no. But people are stressing out there because they don't even know what is going on. You see, they are not just suffering because life is hard. And this is something that each and every person believes. I think each and every person believes that life is hard, unless maybe you are really favored by life, because that can happen. Things can go extremely well for you, and you believe that, oh no, life isn't hard. People just don't know how to live their lives. Like if you believe in the law of attraction, you know, it can happen that you start believing in the law of attraction and good things start happening. And here's the thing about the good things in this world. Once something good happens to you, chances are there are a lot of good things that are going to happen. Let me show you an example. Let's just say you win money. You winning money is going to come with a lot of good things, right? Or you getting a job that you want. That might come with a lot of good things. You might find yourself being able to achieve the things that you want. So yeah, you might just maybe discover that there's what we call a law of attraction, and then you start visualizing the things that you want, and then by chance it happens that you get what you want, and then you start getting more of the things that you want, and then you start believing that, oh no, this is what I was missing. I didn't know what I know now. That's why I was unsuccessful. Like, no. It's just lucky. It happens that people are lucky in this world. You know, I laugh when people who believe in the law of attraction sell books or monetize their YouTube channels, for an example. You're like, that doesn't make any sense. First of all, you can just attract whatever you want. Why not just give your books away for free because you found the secret to life? Like, that's the biggest secret to life, you know? You can just attract whatever you want. If you want a car, you'll attract that car. You don't need to be making money off selling books You know what I mean? You can just do whatever you do for free because you can attract whatever you want. But anyway, what I'm trying to show you is that life is truly difficult. You know, I think each and every person knows that, except for people that are delusional or that were truly favored by life. Life is difficult. I've heard people like Jordan Peterson saying that life is difficult, even though they believe that we must have many children. You know, life is really that difficult. People know that. So why do we feel like we must keep on reproducing if life is really that difficult and meaningless? You know, it's not just difficult, it's meaningless. There's no meaning to life. We can try to give our own lives meaning, but right now a lot of people are struggling so much that it's hard for them to give their lives meaning. You see, that's one of the biggest problems. You can suffer so much that you don't even know how to give your life meaning because nothing is working. Nothing is working out for you. So how the fuck do you give your life meaning if nothing is working out for you? If people are not even treating you right, you don't have the things that you want, you're homeless. See, when you're homeless, you see how horrible people are. When you're at the bottom, you see how horrible people are. So how are you going to give your life meaning if people are horrible to you? Are you just going to be like, you know what, I'm just going to be alone and that's what's going to be meaningful? You know, I'm just going to be alone. Like people who believe that they should do that, they should just isolate themselves and meditate. No, just don't burden someone else with existence. You came here and realized what is actually going on. So don't burden someone else with existence. And also don't create people that are going to cause suffering because you know that that's what they do. You know that you cannot change people. People think the way that they think, man. If you had a child and you decided that you want your child to be a vegan, even if they want to consume animal products, you're just gonna force them to be a vegan, you get arrested. That's child abuse, you know that. You're not gonna force a child to be a vegan. Doesn't matter if you're a vegan. If your child doesn't wanna only consume animal products, then you have to allow them to eat what they want to eat. You won't punish them for eating what they want to eat. Yes, you can buy animal products only, but what if when they go out, they buy what they want? What if when they grow older and they start making their own money, they buy what they buy the food that they want? They consume all the animal products that they can consume. And they will consume them more than an average person does because they will be mad at you. Like they'll be mad at how you've like raised them, you know. They'll talk about you. They'll talk about how toxic you were to them, because yeah, they will be toxic. So what you do is you don't bring people into this world that are going to cause suffering, because you know that people do cause suffering. That's what you do if you truly care about the rights of animals. I know some of y'all believe that if you have children that are going to be vegans, if you as vegans, if you have children, your children are going to be vegans because you're going to train them to view the world the same way that vegans view the world. So the more you reproduce, the better. Some people actually believe that. I've seen some comments in some of my videos of people saying, well, if people like you stop having children, it means that only the horrible people are going to have children. You don't understand that there ain't that many people that are going to be born with this level of consciousness. If I bring a child into this world, there's chances of them being as conscious as I am are very few. I'm like a mutant. You know, chances of my child actually understanding what I understand are very few. So what's better is to not bring more people into this world. I have sisters. My sisters are not like me. They don't really understand what I understand. My parents are not like me. They don't really understand what I understand. My uncles are not like me. They don't really understand what I understand. My grandparents are not like me. You don't understand that. So I happen to be the only one that's like this. That's why I'm trying to show you that people, it's hard for parents to make their children view the world the way that they view it, especially considering that most people in our society don't live the way that you would want your child to live. Is this a problem? Most people in this society don't live the way that you would want your child to live. You wouldn't be the only person that would be training your child how to live. The teachers will be training them how to live. Their friends will be training them how to live. You see? So that's what you must understand. I know that there are vegans that will watch this video that have children that are not vegans. So you see, you have indirectly caused the suffering of animals. So really, you haven't really achieved anything by being a vegan, you see? So that is why it's best for you to be a vegan internatalist. Thank y'all guys.